Hey everybody, Hank Linderman here. It is April 7th. I went grocery shopping today and this is what I looked like. I brought my wipes so that when I got there I could wipe down anything I touched. And I walked into the Walmart looking like this. I didn't have the nope button. Can you all even hear me through this? Anyway, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough to smile behind the mask. But I was at the Walmart in Litchfield, Kentucky, which takes about 30 minutes for me to get to, even though it's in Grayson County. And there, more than half of the folks there were wearing the mask. I'm going to take the mask off, and you all know about the note button. We'll talk about that again. Anyway, I kept this on the entire time while I was shopping. I got there for the Tuesday morning seniors only come in for the first hour, 7 till 8 a.m., and was able to do my shopping. Most of the folks who were shopping at the Walmart were wearing some sort of homemade mask. I think no one that I saw working there was wearing a mask, and that was a little bit surprising. And it was a little bit alarming, of course. And one more thing that was alarming, and I'll post a picture of it, it's hard to believe. Price of gasoline in central Kentucky is now $1.16.9, so basically $1.17. It's very inexpensive. I've never seen it. I haven't seen it that inexpensive in a number of years. So before we go too deep, this is your expected gear when you go shopping. In some states, they're saying this is going to be the bad week. So I know that in California, I believe Governor Newsom said, if you haven't already shopped, don't go to the grocery store this week because this is going to be a bad week. I'm not sure about Kentucky. We are probably a ways behind that curve. And you remember what the note button's about. That's for no plastics in my environment. When I went shopping, I did my very best to not buy things in plastic, although it gets difficult. Anyway, we have a question that showed up from a previous conversation that I had with you all. And Kathy said, I'm not going to give her last name, but because I'm not trying to out her. She said, if it wasn't for big corporations donating time, money, and restructuring to make needed supplies, we would be up a creek. Please stop vilifying these folks. They provide paychecks to many of us and also the bread and butter to many small businesses. And I responded to her something like, look, we all use corporations every day. Most corporations are perfectly fine. Most corporations supply us with what we need. I buy things from corporations every single day. But there are some corporations that don't do such a nice job. And a perfect example are the Wall Street banks that were bailed out, in 2008, 2009. And they were bailed out to, the tune of billions and billions of dollars, which was intended to bail out homeowners whose homes were upside down, that they owed more money than their home was worth. And it was supposed to be used to bail them out. Well, they didn't do that. Instead, they gave themselves big raises. They bought back their stock, and they let the homeowners lose their houses. So we had in 2008, 2009, instead of people getting bailed out, almost 10 million people lost their homes, and that's a terrible thing to have had happen. Similarly, I'm concerned that with this corporate bailout that we're seeing right now, that there will be, first of all, some folks who do bad things, but second of all, we'll see companies like Boeing do the same sort of thing, that they will buy back their stock, that they'll do various things. They'll keep their current management in place, their current management that has done such a terrible job managing their recent airplane. So I am not meaning to criticize all corporations because we work for them, they benefit us, it's a fact of life. But corporations that are more willing to screw us over, honestly, that are willing to screw us over just for $1, that's where I have a problem. We have bad news today. Deaths in the USA have spiked. Yesterday we had a little bit over 1,100 deaths. Today already, and the day is not over, we have 1,686 deaths. This is the most amount of deaths we've had in the process of the pandemic, and I believe that we are #1 in the world. Yes, Italy and France have been ahead of us Yesterday, for example, actually we were number 1 yesterday as well. We had 1255 yesterday. I'm looking at worldometers, by the way, worldometers.info. And they've got all kinds of meters you can look at, and it helps keep track of what's going on. So I remember yesterday I was saying we can't trust these numbers. They appeared to be dropping off, but there's so much we don't know. We don't have testing the way that we need to have testing. So we're still in for a bit of a ride here, folks. And this week I think is going to be a very critical week. So I am hearing from people who think it's ridiculous that we're being socially isolated, that we should be all getting back to work, but this is not the time yet. We need to be calm. We really only want to do this once if we can possibly do it. And if it goes on for another 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, but then we're done with it, then that'll be great. Speaking of which, New Zealand is not just flattening the curve, they are crushing the curve, according to a story that I found recently, and I'll post these stories. New Zealand is committed to doing 2 14-day lockdowns. They are more extreme than any of for example, any of the restrictions that we have. They've shut their beaches down completely. People are getting arrested. In fact, I think they had a city councilman who was fined, might have been arrested and fined for mountain biking. They are serious about getting rid of this, and they only want to do it once. We have some other bad news. President Trump fired the watchdog who was going to be watching over the spending of the bailout money, and he's the acting Inspector General for the Defense Department. His name's Glenn A. Fine. He was Inspector General for the Defense Department acting from before President Trump was put into office, and he's replaced him with the current EPA Inspector General, a man named Sean O'Donnell. This is a real problem, and President Trump has done a little bit of taking advantage here by not running his political appointees past Congress. He just makes them temporary, and then as long as they do what he wants them to do, he keeps them in place, and when they don't, then he can remove them, and this completely removes Congress from any kind of oversight, which is a terrible thing. I have promised to give some good news, but I've only got a little bit. I only got a little bit of good news that I'll share with you, and that's for those of you that are musicians. There's an email circulating around that I'll share with you all once I get it, with various band names and performers that are related to the SARS epidemic, the COVID-19 epidemic. So, of course, we have the WHO, WHO. I'll have some more of these available for us tomorrow. Thank you all for being here. I love you all. Let's stay strong. Let's stay with this. Let's stay socially isolated. It's a little bit unnerving to go shopping and everyone looks like this and you can't smile at anybody. But we're going to get there. This is going to end. So let's just hang together. I love you all. See you tomorrow. Bye.